Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you own it. It's been a fantastic day so far. A little bit of volatility as the Fed has exclaimed that they are raising rates for the first time since 2018. Interesting dynamic and interesting conversations that many people are having as a result of some of the comments and remarks that Fed Chair Jay Powell has made after this decision. But we're going to get into all of that. Before I do, as always, folks, let me hit everybody up with the starting five. We got Memaroon, Arne Van Acker, Our Family, Jeff Bonica, Ralph Vandenhoek. You guys are our starting five. If you guys missed the starting five, it's probably because you didn't hit the notification bell. That's all I'm saying. Those are the folks that showed up first. You get a shout out at the beginning of the show. So make sure you hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe, and hit that like button on your way in. What's up, people? Good to see you. I think a lot of people are maybe, I don't know, a little, I guess, surprised about the way the market's reacting. I'm not necessarily all that surprised. I am a little bit surprised at the expectations. I see Our Family's. Yeah, I know. I need to bring the alter ego back for sure. But yeah, not really all that surprised at the reaction because we've been building this in, right? I mean, the stock market had baked in essentially a seven rate hikes this year. And based off of some of the readings that we're getting from the Fed, the dot plot showing that we're seeing potentially, 2% by 2023. The median member of the FOMC predictions projects a likelihood that the Fed will have the short-term interest rate between 2.5% to 3% by the end of 2024. They're projecting 2 by the end of this year. I don't know if that happens. I think that maybe there's a possibility it does. These dot plots don't actually mean shit. I mean, a lot of people follow them, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it is something to talk about. Do you look at the charts, and it's something to talk about? Can it actually happen? Yes, it can. Will it actually happen? I'm not sure. There's a lot of factors here, and I think that's really kind of what Jerome Powell was communicating. There's a lot of people that are saying that he's just spewing out a bunch of bullshit. He admitted that they're behind the curve. I mean, nobody's shocked by that. But he also talked about, supply chains being one of the main key factors here. Obviously, the Russia-Ukraine issue that's going on is also a huge factor. But went on the other side of this and talked about how well the economy is doing. And we all know this. We've been talking about this for a while now. Unemployment's at crazy lows right now. And demand is still ridiculously high, which is, there's just so many good things going on in the economy. It's very, very strong. And he feels that we can handle interest rate hikes. I agree with that. My concern is that what happens when, supply chains get back to normal, demand wanes a bit, because you got to remember, we're still getting over COVID. People stop talking about it. It's not existing anymore. But, I think that it's one of those. I mean, I'm saying this, lightheartedly. We know it exists, right? And obviously we're seeing it over in China now, but it hasn't been making the headlines. People haven't been talking about it as much, but it's still very much a thing. And all that pent up demand is still set to explode. I mean, we're talking about potential reopening 2.0. But when all that stops, what are we left with? And my concerns, I do have some concerns that if we do raise rates every single Fed meeting, we're going to see a repeat of 2018. We're going to see a repeat of 2014. I mean, just go back in history. This is what happens. And then what's the risk here? Recession. I think that's the risk. I don't think that Jerome Powell is trying to do that. I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't think that we're at a major risk for that, even though it still could be on the table if they raise rates too fast. and if they raise rates too fast while supply chains ease and demand eases. I think that's a recipe for disaster if they just continue to go down that road without looking at what's really going on in the real world. And you can make the arguments that perhaps they don't know what's going on in the real world. And we've heard all those, all of the responses as far as that's concerned. But at the end of the day, it's about what you should be doing with your money, and what I should be doing with my money. And at this point, I'm set up. I feel great. We got this kind of like proverbial monkey off of our back. It's the first time rates have gone up since 2018, as I mentioned before. And the markets were prepared for this. I mean, we saw the Dow or the S&P correct 10, 12%. The NASDAQ was down 20%. They priced a lot of this in. And now that it's only gone up 25% versus what some might have feared was a 0.5%. James Bullard actually wanted that 0.5%, which is why it wasn't a unanimous decision to raise it by a quarter. But now, we're seeing this kind of play out, and investors, the market seems to be pretty damn happy about it. I mean, last week Tuesday into today, really started to see a huge bounce back. I think there's potential that we could continue to see this move up. Now, can we start having the recession talks? Maybe. I don't think that happens until late next year, if it's going to, late next year, early 2024. We start getting in the 3% range, people are going to have real problems with that. So if that actually ends up happening, I think that's when the serious issues take place. Of course, I also want to reiterate that there is a lot of other factors here, right? There's so much that could happen that causes a recession that we don't even see coming. We could hypothetically think about all of those things, but at the end of the day, we just have to think about the market that we're in right now and the cycle that we're working our way into, or that we are into. So what do? I think, as I had mentioned before, rising rate environment, you're going to want to be in good quality companies that are making money. Can you take a flyer on something that maybe doesn't make any money? They're not reporting any profits, but the growth story is certainly there. Yes, absolutely. I think that's certainly fine. But I think in large part, it's going to be really important to be in good quality companies that make money, that are going to be around for the long haul. I mean, and I'm talking about the corrections that we've seen on Apple. I mean, people want Apple on a discount. It's here. You got it. It was at 183 and 184, 183, came all the way down to 150. We gave you that, and we gave you Nvidia. That's up 6.5% right now. Facebook, we gave you that. That's now back up over $200. It's up 5.5%. Snowflake, the odd one out, that's up 15%. That's crazy. But Microsoft is even up another 2% after a 3% day yesterday. So these are all good quality companies that you can still make good, solid money on, that where the risk isn't as great as trading something like SoFi, for example. Now, I have SoFi, but it doesn't take up a giant portion of my portfolio, and that's something to keep in mind. So that's what I was talking about before. It's okay to have these speculative, even though I wouldn't even consider SoFi speculative, even though I guess it technically is. But that company is still not making any money. So that's going to continue to be sensitive to rising rates. It's not going to be the growth story, I think, is there. So there are going to be exceptions to that rule, but I think by and large, you're going to want to be in those good companies that make good, solid money, that have been on a discount, because I think it's time to start nibbling on those pretty aggressively. As I've told you guys since the beginning of March, I'm all in. I got no cash. I'm in everything that I want to be in, and I'm loving it. I'm happy about it. My account's been doing pretty good over the last couple of weeks, or last week, and I'm feeling pretty good about where I'm sitting. So yeah, just looking at some of the comments that you guys are bringing in here. Let me just shout out. What's up, Don, from the Don Front Show? What's up, Snookeroo? How'd you guys like the beats today, by the way? Shout out to Dim Sweets with the sweet beats. Let me know what you guys think about that. The countdown music, I have to change now. I know Jeff Poneka was very upset about me switching, but I guess the creator, I don't know how Pat McAfee is going to deal with this, but the creator of the countdown music has now copywritten that music, and now I don't get paid for the entire video. Not just the countdown. I don't get paid for this entire video. So all the live streams that I put out last couple of weeks since he copywritten it, demonetized. Thanks, YouTube. I wish I would have gotten like some sort of warning, just like a, hey, heads up. I know you've been using this music for the last 6 months, but now you can't. That's all I needed. Be like, okay. But nope, we're just going to go back, backtrack 3 or 4 videos and not pay you for those. So I got to come up with alternative solution. And we have a local musician that created those beats for me, which I'm super pumped about. Dim is awesome. So let me know what you guys think. I'm still playing around with it. Nothing's permanent yet. I got a bunch of beats to work around with, but let me know what you guys think so far. Shane Haley says, can we bring back all the classic WWF sound drops? Give me a hell yeah. Yes, I think we can. I think we can bring those back. 2K on. Oh yeah. So Andre's just trading the S&P. I like that. Phil Stray made headlines about workplace. The new variant may end up masking up again. I doubt that. I doubt that's coming. Snookeroo grabbed some Apple and Shopify. Great. We're going to get into this topic here. What the heck got into BABA today? All the Chinese stocks are actually ripping. So yeah, we're going to talk about that and how I feel about BABA moving forward. And Don says today's music was the best. There was actually 3 different beats in there, so I appreciate that, Don. I can't please everybody, Jeff. I can't please everybody. But yeah, isn't that crazy? Fucking YouTube. Use YouTube editor and take the first couple minutes off. It doesn't matter. Once the flag's on there, it's on there, and it's like, it's already done. So it's a good suggestion. But yeah, I've tried that before, and it doesn't really do anything. What's crazy is that, like, I've noticed, and I don't have a way to prove this, but once you get demonetized for like that copyright, your video stops really kind of getting pushed. Like if I've had videos that have gone crazy on music that I didn't realize was copywritten, and that was, and then once I get that flag, the views stop immediately. I can't imagine that's a coincidence, but hey, is what it is. Okay, so let's just take a look at the markets real quick. I just want to show you guys the SPY and kind of where we're at, and we're going to get into what's going on with the Chinese stocks in a minute. But I kind of want to just show you where the SPY is at. Pretty decent bounce, really good last couple of days, but we're not out of the woods yet. Obviously, like I said, we have this monkey off of our back. It seems to me pretty clear what's going on with the Fed. Again, I think right now they're just trying to project an aggressive tone, and then if they have to dial it back, they will. Excuse me. And so the projection is 7 or 8 hikes this year. I just don't see that happening. I would just be very surprised if that happened. The market's just closed. The S&P or the SPY closed at 435.55. Heck of a day. Another day up 2%. That's 2 days in a row. I have no reason to believe why we can't see this continue to rock and roll as well in the coming days. I had mentioned the beginning of the month. Go follow me on Twitter. I tweeted it out. I said, I feel like March is going to be a face ripper of a month. Hopefully this is the start of that. It's still showing that the bottom of the market this year so far is that February 24th. I think that is the bottom of the market. This is just me speculating. I could be very wrong about this, but right now it feels as if we've seen the bottom finally. Again, not going to be without volatility here and there. Just saying in general, I think that this is going to be the bottom. But that looks great. The Qs also look great. Remember when we talked about this on Monday? I said, listen, if we hold over 318, I think we're going to be in good shape. So on Monday, we got the 317.45 was the intraday low on Monday, closed above 318. And so far, so good. If we go back and look at February 24th, that was the bottom for it. It looks like it, obviously retested that again. Oh my God. What is wrong with me? Held that support, and we go out to like a weekly chart, or we can go out to this way. But this is kind of where I was getting that from. Kind of tested that back in May of 21 and acted as a resistance back in March of 21. So I think that, is the pain over? I don't think it's over. but I think the bottom is in, and it sure feels like that. Let me know what you guys think on that as well. Jeff Chocolate made a quick 2,000 on SQQQ. Good thing you set your stop on that, because the SQQQ is probably not doing really well at the end of the day, but closed the day up 3.7. SQQ, the Qs did. So then SQQ, closed down 11%. Whew. We look at the VIX too, interestingly enough. And that's also come down back down into the mid 20s. If this continues to fall, I mean, like I said, it looks as if, it feels as if momentum is shifting. And there's a lot of things to like about the market right now, and the economy and how they're tied together. I think we're in good shape. So let me see what you guys are chatting about here real quick. Savvy Money Show. What's up, my man? Says, I had a copyright weird thing, was that it was a free copyright site. Yeah, that's what mine was, from a free copyright site as well. Like I said, I specifically took that music from a website that had copyright free music, and other well-known YouTubers used that countdown music that I had previously. So, okay. Williams Sonoma has earnings today. Yes. Let me know what you guys, give me some questions, guys. What you got out there? Let me know what you're looking at. Williams Sonoma does have earnings today. I wasn't quite sure if anybody actually cared, but we can keep that on tap if you guys are curious about that, what's going on with Williams Sonoma. This was a huge mover during the pandemic, and then even last year had a great year. And then we've had a pretty sharp correction on this as demand has kind of waned for the stay-at-home type of stocks. Williams Sonoma, if you guys don't know, high quality, what do you call it? Household items, kitchenware stuff. What's Weeble say? Specialty retailer of products for the home. There you go. Home products. So interestingly enough, this actually closed above the 50-day moving average. And there could be some good momentum here. As we all know, though, earnings can just wreck a chart. So let's just keep an eye on this. But it's corrected a ton. It came all the way down to 127 from 223. Maybe this is a bounce it needs. We'll continue to watch that, though. But Williams Sonoma was a good one. Actually, this is one of my top 3 underrated stocks in 2020. It was this, MGM, and Peloton, believe it or not. They all crushed it that year. A lot of things did, but they outperformed significantly from everything else, which I was pretty proud of. Still like the company, but man, did it ever get ahead of itself? All right. So I got Williams Sonoma pulled up. We'll see if those earnings come out. Let's see. I don't see any numbers on those just yet, but if they do, I'll certainly share them with you. What'd you guys buy today? Did you guys buy anything? Let me know. Thoughts on oil now. Really good question, Jeff. So I bought myself some rig late last week, and obviously this has come down. I think that it's going to be short-lived. So Transocean, a drilling company, here's the thing about this. Demand's not going anywhere, and the Fed can't do anything about oil prices. There's some talk about, things kind of doing better as far as talks go along with Russia and Ukraine. I, first of all, won't believe that until I see it. I think that I think those talks are not going to go well. We'll see. But regardless, let's just say that Russia goes back home, Ukraine does its thing, they rebuild, blah, 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 blah. Sanctions aren't getting lifted as long as Putin's in office. That's just my opinion. I don't see that happening. I don't know how that's going to happen. What's Putin going to do? Hey, sorry, I just fucked up everybody. Can you all give me your money back? Can I have my money back? Can my oligarch buddies have their money back? And can we just get back to business as usual? No, that ain't happening. So when you take away 10% of the global oil supply like that, nobody's trading with them except for maybe India. That's going to continue to raise oil prices. We're looking at demand that we probably haven't seen in quite some time as far as the consumption of oil is concerned. I mentioned that I think that travel this year is going to set records. I think we're going to see unbelievable travel this summer and leading into the spring and even into the fall. I mean, you're already seeing even cruises are going up in price. Go try to go on a cruise. It's going to be much more expensive now than it was 6 months ago because demand's coming back. And so I think that that's going to be something that continues to move on. Just because the winter months are gone doesn't mean that oil demand is going to go anywhere. And I truly believe that. At this point, I think that $150 a barrel oil isn't out of the question. We're looking at, and I've talked about this before, $4 oil across the country is not the same as $4 oil in 2008. And nobody wants to hear that. And a lot of people will speculate that $100 oil means a recession's coming. We are in a different time right now. The amount of money that it takes to fill up your tank is not the same, doesn't have the same impact as it did in 2008, even at $4 a gallon. It's just not. It's funny. Who was it? I think it was Tom Lee. The price of water is $300 a barrel. If we put out a barrel of water compared it to oil, $300 a barrel for a bottle of water. Okay. Bottled water is $300 a barrel. Coke is like $4.25 a barrel. I mean, for a bottle of Coke right now, it's $1.33. Nobody bitches or complains about that. Starbucks is like $500 a barrel. You got Starbucks. Nobody gives a shit about that. But when it comes to oil and gas prices, everybody's all up in arms about $4 a gallon of gas. Now, granted, does it hurt? Is it painful? Does it not look good when you're filling up your tank and you see $100 and you're limited on the amount of oil or gas that you can put in the tank? Yes. But comparatively, and I've said this for the last year, oil and energy is so far behind as far as like catching up with the rest of inflation over the last decade that we're just now seeing it finally. And people are kind of like sticker shock, so to speak. But it hasn't, it's somewhere around taking up around 3% of the consumer's wallet. It's not even close to what it was in 2018, where it was around 4.5%, which if we got to that point, we're talking $200 a barrel oil if it was 4.5% of consumers' wallets. So while it is a little bit of a holy shit moment, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Feel free to disagree with me, but I think that oil stocks are going to continue to be worth owning. I trimmed some. My position in rig isn't anywhere near what it was in Marathon Oil. I made an absolute killing on Marathon Oil. I took a small position in rig, and so comparatively to what I had in Marathon, and so I'm still thinking that it's worth owning, and so I'm just going to continue to own that till I see a true direction in the opposite. As far as downward pressure is concerned, I just don't see that in the near future. I just really don't. El Mariachi says the whole country complaining about $4 a gallon gas. Meanwhile, Southern California is averaging $6.50 a gallon. You did not know the meaning of pain. Yeah, but what are wages like in California, right? A little bit different. So comparatively, cost of living is a little bit different in California. That's a whole other country, by the way. Well, that's a whole other country is California. Still part of the U.S., but it is a whole different country. All right, just checking in on what you guys are chatting about. We're going to talk about what's going on with the Chinese stocks in a second. Baba just absolutely ripped face today. And are the Chinese stocks going to fall back into favor? Are they finally going to become a solid buy? Is Alibaba worth buying? Is JD.com worth buying up? Is Pinduoduo worth buying up? Those all absolutely ripped today. And so we'll talk about why that is in just a second. But I wanted to chat with you guys. Ralph Vandenhoek did not buy today. He only buys on red days. Okay. All right. Something to be said for that. Elizabeth Shelbourne says, I've been holding on to CVX Chevron since 2020. Don't know if I should continue holding for long term. I feel like I kind of gave my thoughts on that, but you can, I don't think long-term oil is the solution. So I think the next 12 to 24 months, oil is still going to go crazy, and maybe a little bit beyond that. We are moving towards renewable energy. At some point, maybe in our lifetime, we're not going to be reliant on oil as we are right now. I think that's just a fact. We're going to work out some of the kinks as far as uh, natural resources required to make sustainable energy. All of that, I think that's going to be solved. And that's a much deeper conversation that we can have. So I think that if you're looking to retire on something like Exxon or Chevron, for example, now they've made strides towards renewable energy or being carbon neutral and all that. So maybe they end up finding a way to pivot. But I just don't see how investing directly in oil long term is going to be a good solution for you or a good trade. But I think over the next 2 to 3 years, I think it'll be fine. Those are just my 2 cents. Remember Maroon bought Airbnb and Nvidia. Yeah, Airbnb doing solid. Nvidia just ripping today. Ganesh, this is interesting. Thoughts on Zoom? Let's take a look at Zoom real quick. Where did it end up today? Because obviously, you would maybe think about Zoom in an environment where we're seeing a little bit of a lift in Omicron in China, some areas overseas. But is it ready to be bought up now? I think that there's reason to believe that, yes, you could. The stock went up 8% today. Unbelievable move for Zoom. We have yet to have seen a bottom here, but I think you could start nibbling at it. So let's just draw a trend line here. Just be nice and easy and simple. Okay. We always talk about the trend is your friend, right? So there is your downtrend. And this goes far beyond this, right? So I'm just drawing it here from July of last year to now. It has been downtrending ever since for 9 months. Has yet to have changed direction. So I'm hesitant to say, yeah, let's just go all in on Zoom. But I think that there's something to be said about at least nibbling on it and seeing where it goes. It just bottomed on Monday. So there's no real definitive answer here as far as, yes, it's officially changing direction. I think it has to break this trend. I think it has to get back up over the 50-day moving average. But the risk reward here is actually pretty good. It's obviously been oversold for quite some time. It's definitely moved back into reasonable levels, I would say. Their earnings are still fantastic, by the way. They're still growing at a pretty decent clip. Not like they were in the pandemic, but they're never going to see that ever again. And I think that people just need to get over that. But the fact of the matter is that Zoom is still a great stock to own. And I think they got a lot of good things coming. So I would say that, yes, it's worth probably scooping up a little bit, but I wouldn't go crazy. Same thing goes for SoFi. I feel the same way about that. But yeah, celebrate and go to Disneyland helps my Disney holdings, says Jeff Ponicka. Yeah. It's not just gas, but it's also everything else. This is a great point, says Jonathan White. Says people are going to alter their buying decisions. Yes, but that hasn't happened yet. So I agree with you, just not at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I think that at some point that's going to be a factor, right? We're going to destroy demand at some point if we keep going in this trajectory. But like I said, supply chains start to ease some. I don't think that oil is going to ease any. I think supply chains ease some, and that starts to resolve itself to a certain extent. Again, I could be wrong. These are just my thoughts. So take them for what you will. But I think in the here and now, with demand being so high, there's very few companies coming out and saying, you know what, customers aren't coming in like they used to because they just don't see that it's worth paying for. But you can't tell me that there's one person out there that has canceled their vacation because oil prices are going up or prices of anything are going up. They're still going on vacation, right? They're still traveling. They're still going out and doing things. They're still going to bars and restaurants. That's all happening still. So until we see signs of that slowing down, I don't see how oil is actually going to make that much of an impact yet. Even though I agree with you, I think that at some point that'll be a factor. It's just not yet. And like I said, I think that there's a higher likelihood of something like that happening maybe next year, the year after. We always see these cycles take place at some point. I would imagine, it's so sad to say, but history has repeated itself so many times, it's hard not to think about, where the Fed just continues to raise rates until they break something. And then they're like, oh shit, sorry guys, we'll walk it back. I feel like something like that could happen next year, maybe early 24. So yeah. Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah. Berkshire Hathaway hit an all-time high today. We've talked about that since the beginning of the year. Berkshire Hathaway has just been an absolute juggernaut in the markets. Okay. Let's see. MMT says, I don't trust Chinese stocks right now. Yeah, let's get on the Chinese stocks. So Alibaba absolutely ripped today. A lot of things did. Which, by the way, let me just double check before I get into this. Williams Sonoma. So those earnings come in. They did come in real quick. Earnings. Williams Sonoma came in $5.42. They beat their 60-cent beats by 60 cents. Sorry, they beat by 60 cents per share. Revenue came in and missed by 80 million. So they came in at $2.5 billion in revenue. That's still an insane number. So interesting there. They beat on earnings per share, though. The stock's up now 10%. What the hell? They announced a 10% quarterly dividend increase and new $1.5 billion stock repurchase authorization. Let's take a look at that chart real quick, and then we'll get into the Chinese stocks. Look at this, guys. Let's go out to the 5-minute chart. Boom. Look at that boner candle. Holy shit. Stock's up now 10% on a $1.5 billion buyback. Yowza. That is crazy. So just to repeat that, guys, they came in and beat on earnings per share, $5.42. They beat by 60 cents on their estimate. Revenue of $2.5 billion. They missed on revenue, but they did announce a 10% quarterly dividend increase and $1.5 billion stock repurchase. So that's why the stock is up 10% here after hours. They missed revenue by $80 million, which, I mean, it's still a miss nevertheless, but holy shit, that's crazy. What a move on that. Unbelievable. Wow. Okay. So pretty solid beat there from Williams Sonoma on earnings per share, but again, they came in and missed on revenue, announced that huge buyback, as well as a 10% increase on dividends. Pretty good stuff. All right, Baba. Up 36% today. Is it a buy? Give me your thoughts. Put it in the chat. Are you buying Baba? If you bought Baba down here, you bought it down here, did you sell it today? Let me know what you guys think about this. Before I get into why, and before I give you my thoughts, just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on this? While I explain to you what happened. So, interestingly enough, it's so funny. The Chinese just like to mess around with people. Alibaba, JD.com, a lot of the other Chinese stocks pledges to support markets now. So it's, they were laying the smackdown on regulations on a lot of the companies such as Alibaba, because of them just being too powerful. We've had this conversation with here within the US, as far as, talks about splitting up Facebook or splitting up Google because they're getting too powerful, right? Whereas China just lays the hammer down no matter whenever they want, rather than like actually holding a vote and talking about stuff like this. But they're suggesting Chinese policy support, but they've actually absolutely wrecked them. Let me see I'm looking up the specifics here. But basically what happened was that they are lifting some of they're talking about lifting some of the restrictions that they wanted to impose on a lot of these stocks. But to me, I just don't trust it. First of all, I'm not buying a stock that goes up 36% in one day, especially something like Alibaba. So for those of you who feel like you missed here, let me just break this down for you. For those of you who feel like you missed out on Alibaba, this is where it came from. $319. It went up 36% today. Now, I'm not buying something that went up 36% in one day, but this isn't to say that it can't continue to go up from here. You look at this, and if China actually sticks to what they say, maybe there's something to be said here. But if they don't, if they say, hey, guys, guess what? Just kidding. We're going to continue to play around with regulating these companies, and we're not going to play fair with the U.S., then it's going to be more pain for Baba. It's going to be more pain for Pinduo, Duo, JD.com, all of those. Neo, take your pick. Okay. So for me, regardless of how it's moving today, regardless of where it's come from, regardless of, just looking at a chart and not really caring about what the ticker says, there's not one part of me that wants anything to do with Alibaba. And it could run to 500 for all I care. We're going to have an interesting conversation about this with somebody who has been requested to come onto the channel quite a bit. If you guys are familiar with Strongman Personal Investing, he's going to come on Stock Watch Sunday this week. And we're going to talk a little bit about these Chinese stocks in Alibaba. So I think it's a pretty good time to have a discussion about them and see, and just kind of like get an idea of where they might be going. And I think it's going to be a good debate. Chris is a funny dude, man. If you guys haven't checked him out, go check him out. It is Strongman Personal Strongman Personal Finance. Yeah, that'll be an interesting conversation. He's really big on these. And so that's that. To me, I don't think I would say that Baba's a buy just yet after one solid day. I think there's going to potentially be a lot of profit taking tomorrow. Potentially. Can it continue to rip? Of course. We don't know what's going to happen until we actually see it taking place. But it wouldn't surprise me to see this kind of retreat a little bit after such an amazing day. Jimmy Berry says Baba's going back to 170. And look, here's the thing, right? And I think I've said this before. If Alibaba was a U.S.-based company, I'd be all about it. I'd be sign me up. The company is incredible. The growth is incredible. I mean, this is a great company. If it was based in the U.S., I would be all about it. I would be buying this up hand over fist. It's just that the wild card that is the Chinese government that I just can't get behind. And it's just kind of like, what are we doing? And so that's something that kind of really has me concerned. Is it kind of do you look at it and say, you know what, it doesn't matter. The stock is so ridiculously cheap that like it needs to be bought up regardless. Okay. Maybe taking a flyer on it, maybe understanding the risk that's involved and not going crazy on it. Sure. Today with the move, it went up to 12 times next year's earnings. So it's still ridiculously cheap, even with the move here. If you feel like you've missed the boat, you haven't. I think there's still plenty of upside as long as, like I said, the CCP can keep their hands out of things. But we don't know if they're going to do that. We don't know. I mean, can we really trust them? Can we really trust them to keep their hands out of it? I just don't think that they can. Okay. Sell weekly puts. Yeah. You can collect on that. That's not a bad idea. Jimmy says, use common sense. Baba's I don't know why he's yelling at me. Why you always keep talking in caps, man? Don't yell at me. It's a Chinese Amazon, buy and hold. Of course, we all know what Baba is and the company that it is. Okay. The problem is it doesn't matter if the Chinese government can't keep their hands off of it. I mean, do we not see what happened to Jack? Where is Jack Ma these days? I still have the shirts, by the way, the free Jack Ma shirts. We love Baba. I just wish it was based in the U.S. I feel much better about it. And that goes for all of these. JD had a crazy ass day too. That stock's up 40% today. Let's take a look at that. 40% that stock was up, and it's still climbing here after hours. That stock's up 40%. DD, that stock's up 40%. I mean, just unbelievable moves out of these. What did Neo do today? Nothing. Oh, yeah, it did. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong number. 25%. So that was a pretty solid day. But yeah, good stuff. Can you guys hear that? Oh my God. There's a saw going on back behind me. I cannot wait till this construction's done. I cannot wait. I can't even hear myself think. And I can't yell at them. It's obviously too loud. They can barely hear it. Okay. Well, at least you can barely hear it. Hopefully it'll be done soon. But it is insanely loud in my ear. Biker Brian says, I've seen Chinese government stick their nose in many businesses. I don't trust them. Just play the momentum, but never do long term. That's fair. That's fair. I think you could do something like that for sure. China stocks have a big November gap to potentially fill. I mean, look, I'm not, again, just to be clear, I'm not saying that it can't go up. I personally just can't trust it. And maybe, maybe old strongman personal finance can convince me to scoop up some BABA. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a good conversation. Make sure you guys are hitting that notification bell, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys are loving the channel, hit the thumbs up. That's going to do it for me, guys. Pretty short day, but pretty exciting week so far. If you guys, we're still not done with the week. Tomorrow I'll be back here at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. One of the more notable earnings tomorrow is going to be FedEx. So we're going to be giving our live reactions to FedEx. Hopefully Daniel Camarena comes into the house to talk about that or express his excitement. I will be looking forward to him hanging out with us for FedEx. But also Freddie Valoy will be back in the house. So looking forward to that. You guys love and know Freddie. Can't wait to have him back tomorrow. That's going to do it for me. Thanks so much. Hit that like and subscribe. Hit the join button, by the way, if you want to become part of the Chaos Crew and get your get your watch list in the morning before the market opens up. If you can't see that one there, then go to ownthechaos.com. It's all kinds of other goodies there as well. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out. Bye. Bye.